the workload, yeah, it worked.
Okay.
I did a parser and an XML generator both.
Okay. Yeah, I had the same problem, but I did not uninstall the client. I just reinstalled on top of it,
Yeah,
and it fixed it.
override, yes.
Yeah, it overwrote and it redid the registries, reinstalled the registries, and it worked for me. And it worked for Ramil also.
Yep, it worked for me too.
Junia, how about you?
I didn't have to reinstall anything. It worked from the
Oh,
first
okay.
time.
Okay. Yeah, that is weird. Like some people had that problem, some people
Maybe
may not.
maybe she has a license, that's why.
Yeah, she's right. She bought the license.
Yeah, sure.
Are you guys ready for the mock interviews? We have like 9 days of classes left. 9, 8,
Yes,
8 days.
yeah.
Yeah, not even 10 days. Are you guys ready for the interview?
Yes, Abdul, are we gonna at least like what I would like to have? Sometimes like I look at the interview questions. Can we at least like maybe 20 minutes at the last class that you can tell us like what's the proper answer for this one? I mean, I know the answers, but
Yeah.
I hope they will not like fail me or someone else in this class because of not the like a sequence of the, let's say, proper information. I mean, generally I know all of them, but
Yeah.
sometimes like
So don't expect to clear your first or second interview. Okay, it's going to take some time. Okay, for some people it took like I said, we placed 17 people in last 2.5 years. Only 2 of them got job before the training completed. Okay, for some of them it took 1 year. Okay, and for some of them it took like 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 weeks. It all depends on how the market is, how your luck is, and if you did all the assignments. Okay, just because you did all the assignments doesn't mean you'll clear interviews. You need luck, right? For example, tomorrow, Ramil, you might get an interview where they're going to ask you like PLSQL in depth and like little bit of Informatica, and they are asking more on shell scripting and all of that. And Surab gets an interview where they say, "Oh, we need somebody with basic Powercenter, Unix, and Oracle," right? And he did not. He just did like half of the assignments. He'll get a job. So don't. You need patience. Of course, we'll go over all the questions. That we will definitely do. But just going over the questions is not going to be. You need little bit of luck, and then you also need to put in some. So trainer has to work, you have to work, and then you need little bit of luck. It's all like 3. So the things which we can control is my training and your practice. So if we control these 2 things, we can easily clear. The first few interviews will be like very nervous, so don't worry about that. That's normal. Eventually you'll clear it, because for this batch, like half of the things I did not show for the previous 9 batches. So I really prepared this batch very well. I hope people are not looking for links, because did you guys join through email or through the meeting invite?
Through the email.
Oh, somebody joined through email, right? Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I didn't see my calendar. I checked my
Yeah,
email.
because so Google, to cut down on spam, they will only let me add 10 people every 60 minutes. So if I have I have currently more than 20 people in class. So it's going to take me 3 hours to do the meeting invite. So I forgot about that yesterday. I added the first 10, then I said I'll add the other 10, and then I forgot. And today morning, somebody reminded me that they didn't receive it. So I added another 10, and then the last 10 I couldn't add. I just sent an email to everyone. Anybody has any questions? Ali, how are you doing? I'm not hearing from you. The starting of the batch, you were very active.
Are you talking to me, Abdul?
Yes.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Are you ready for the interviews?
No, last two classes, I pretty much wasn't able even to listen because I had some issues and stuff. Last two
Okay.
classes I have to rewatch.
Okay.
Yeah, but before that, I'm pretty much.
Last two classes, what did we do? We did the dynamic lookup cache, right?
Last class, I don't even know. Before that, you were explaining the snowflake and stuff.
Okay, yeah. So just go through that. Yeah, last class is important. The class before that, I'm going to again do that stuff, but just watch that. Just watch the last two classes.
Okay.
It was the aggregator transformation, I think, also.
Yeah, I forgot to update the. Let me open the X. Okay. Don't worry,
Ramya,
we won't send you to interviews without like practice and everything. We'll make sure that you're
Turab,
ready.
did you call my name?
yes.
Yes.
So, can you show the output of the XML? We can talk about how to remove the unwanted strings.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was watching also the YouTube that like how to not create the table one by one myself, and I saw that the time is up. Then I joined the
Yeah,
class.
let me stop sharing.
Do you
No,
want me
I'm
to
actually
share?
not sharing. Go ahead, share your screen, Raman.
Okay. I just only
So
issued that like
728. When was our last class? 728. Oh,
728.
728 only. Okay. 728.
Yeah, 728 was Tuesday.
Okay. Oh, sorry. So what did we do? Oh, hold on one second. What did we do? 730. We did dynamic lookup cache and.
Yes, we did the first of all we did the half class almost this SCD2 type with a dynamic lookup, the homework.
Okay.
And then
SCD2
Hmm.
dynamic lookup cache and with error handling, right?
With
And
rank and XML loading.
Yeah.
And persistent cache also.
Yes.
no, persisting
Persistent
was
was
on
the class
the
before that.
28. 28 it was.
Yeah, 28. At the end, I did persistent lookup cache. I did SCD type 2 and I did XML. XML
And
able
also
to,
rank.
yeah, rank I did in depth. Then I tried to explain XML Oracle to
Generator
XML.
and parser.
Yeah, but I'm going to do it today. XML parser and generator. I'm going to do that today. Okay.
I think that on the Tuesday 28 we didn't have like really like the new topics. Just that is a
Persistent lookup cache. Yeah. I
Mhm.
wanted to give a break and then explain like InfoCloud, Snowflake database, and
Yes.
AWS. Okay, we will go back over that again once we finished Powercenter. Okay, today.
Abdul, whenever you're gonna have time, that Turab and me we were talking about this one.
1 second, I'm not looking at the screen.
Sure.
So 8, 1. Yeah, I'm done. Let me look at yours. Okay.
So from table, so we got the source as a table and target as an XML file. So this is the XML file after I reinstall the client. So we were talking about this information here that like can we take out them and just only show the customer this ones.
Yeah. How do you do that? Because I'm not sure how to do that.
Yeah, that's what Turab and me, we were doing meeting before class, and we said that like let's try on that.
I mean, you can use an expression and get rid of that using a substring and something like that.
Okay, but there is not any like a specific click.
I'm not sure actually. That's a good question. I would like to know that as well.
I mean, also Abdul, I know you're gonna show us again, and then this one I took as a table. Actually, we try to do the table, and as a
Oh, it won't work. It won't work if you take that as a source. You have to slightly edit that.
no, I took, but I used the XSD, like this one. You remember we did the XSD
Okay.
in the parser. So in the parser, I used this XSD, and it worked actually. Look
It
at that.
worked?
Yes,
Yeah,
this
I did the same way. Yes.
yeah,
Worked.
this one is my target before.
Okay.
From this target, I got this file. Not this one. I'm sorry. This one. I got this one. So later, I used that one as a source, and my output was this one. Worked
Okay.
actually.
Okay, so you're done with XML generator and parser.
Yeah, this one worked. Also, I did this one just for trying. So as a TXT, it also worked. Like for flat file as a source, target, it worked.
Okay, you loaded into a target. Okay, as a flat file as a target.
Yeah, my only issue was when I was doing this target, I didn't want these, these rows by myself. I didn't know how to do the automatic, like you just create this table at one shot. Because what about if tomorrow I have like 50 columns? So I don't want to add like a one by one here.
You don't have to add one by one.
Yeah, to be honest, I did this one by one.
Okay, you can click on emp ID in the XML, and then Control Shift. Yeah, Control Shift. Click on depth ID, and then you can drag and drop.
No, but like, what about if it's a table? When I'm gonna create the table? So on target, I have this table.
Oh, you'll have to create the table. Yeah, you'll have to. You cannot drag and drop source here and convert it to.
Like I have a source on the field here as a XML flat file.
Yeah. So at work, right, you will be given that design document.
Oh.
So you can copy the table name and the column names and the data types and execute that. Sometimes they'll also, the data modeler will also, in my company, we also get the DDLs also, create table also statement.
Oh, I see.
So are you provided DDLs for the create table statements?
Yes, architect, they create a table and
even
they
for
give
us.
us the name. They do everything.
Yeah, so
And
there is, so I don't know if Yasser is there on the call. Yasser, he worked as a data modeler. So he used to work as a data modeler. So he used to provide like the data model and the entire data model, and also how the DDLs and everything. So you just have to, so there is a tool called Erwin, ERWIN, that is used for data modeling. Okay, so you can create tables. You can create just like it looks exactly like how your designer is. Okay, you have to drag and drop source, and then yeah, you just have to drag and drop source or drag and drop all the tables. You will have to mention how the column, how the data flows from one table to another table. Okay, so
yes, we're
and
using
then they
the
will
same
also
tool.
yeah, and then they will also ERWIN. That's a data modeling tool. So they will, in that, that will show what is the relationship between multiple tables. So when you know how it exactly looks like, do you have a table with foreign key primary key relationship? Can you open that in your database?
Primary, you need the foreign primary key?
Yeah, you should have a table with foreign key primary key relationship.
I don't have because all my SQL is gone.
It was gone,
I go
right?
from back to yeah.
Okay.
So
let me.
Someone else can show. Yeah.
Yeah, I can show.
Ramil, we had a question, right? I think I found an answer for that. So if you don't want to see the extra strings here, right? So you put the string like 999, right?
Okay.
So you can count it from the right side, and then you can see till, for example, question sign, right? And then see how many string is this?
Like that? Like this count or
yes,
from the
no, from the other side, yeah. Just count it how many.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You
It's tough, Jesus.
Could continue.
No. You don't need to do that. you can just write you can have expression, and then you can write reg replace, and then you can copy that less than symbol, question mark, XML version equals to 1.0 all the way till the end, and say replace it with a space.
Ah, okay, this one with the
Yeah,
space.
you can
Okay,
just say reg replace.
I see.
Or you can just count
Put a
from
number,
that
right?
and put the same number, and it's gonna truncate the rest of it.
Can you say that again? Can you say that again?
Let's say you have the string is
Here
like
he has like 70. Let's say 70 strings here.
if you put 70, it's gonna give you the 70, and then it's gonna remove the rest.
What if you have a new name tomorrow, which is
This is the
like,
problem.
yeah, tomorrow you have a new name which is like more than 5 characters.
Yeah, that I do only in the date. Let's say
Yeah, you
dates.
shouldn't be hard coding anything like 70 or 80. Oh, you mean from left to right? That is also always going to be. No, that can change, right?
Yeah, here also it changed. So if it's
Yeah,
you can put 70 here, look at that. Here is not 70. Here is a 50.
Yeah,
Then
you're
yeah.
right.
two more here. It's gonna
So
give me.
start from the left. Start from the left.
Yeah, we can count
Yeah,
this one. And take,
that one is going to be consistent, right? So
yes,
simple. Just use expression. In expression, say reg replace and
this one with space.
what?
This one with space, right?
Yeah,
Replace.
not with space, just like single quote, no space, single quote. So it will get rid of this and not put anything in that place.
Let's see. Okay.
Clear?
Yes.
So let me share screen. It's 10:25. Okay, let's get started, guys. It's already 25 minutes. Let's see that. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So in Irwin data model, they will drag and drop all the tables and create connections between them, and they will send you a data flow diagram. I mean, a data mapping document, which will have, remember the data Excel I showed you, how the data from source should be transformed when before getting loaded in target. And from the Irwin data model, they will generate the DDLs for each table. So they will write the table name, column name, and they will generate the DDLs. Those tables are actually not created. It's just a model. Okay. Then they will provide you the create statements. They will extract the DDLs, the create statements out of this, and they'll send it to you. Okay. So this is how a Irwin data model looks like. It would look good on your resume, but don't spend too much time on that. Okay, this is how your tables look like. Okay, so they will, with Irwin data model, they will drag and drop something from here and give it a name and give the column names, data type, and everything. Then, so if they do that, that doesn't mean the table is created. Okay, this one only tells this table has one-to-many relationship, this table has one-to-one relationship, this table has, you can join this table with this table on this column. So if you want to join this table and this table, you cannot join directly. You have to join, this is called as a bridge table, because this is like a bridge between this and this, right? For example, if you have a table called you have an employee table which has emp id, name, debt id. Okay, 1 comma Abdul comma 10. Okay, then you have another table called department table. Okay, you have another table called department table. This one is called debt id, debt name, and department, what can I say, department location. Where is this department located? Okay, then over here you can have 10 comma IT comma, this one will have the location ID. Okay, so like employee table will have employee department ID, but it will not have department name. Just like that, department table will have department ID and not the location name. So they will have ID. Employee table will only have employee information. Department table will only have department information, but it can also have the IDs from other tables. Okay, then they will have location ID, which can be 100. Okay, then there will be another table called location table. Okay, this one will have location underscore ID and then the location underscore name. So location ID is going to be 100. Location name is going to be 123 Main Street. It's present in this location. Okay, so if I want to know where Abdul is working, how would I know? I cannot join this table with this table, right? I will have to first join this table with this table on this column and this column, return this, and then once I return this, I can join on this one. So I will have a source definition, source qualifier. I will have one lookup. From that lookup, I will go to another lookup and then to the target. So this is like a department table is like a bridge table between employee and location. So how do you join this one and this employee and department? You will join on depth ID. How do you join this one, department and location? You will join on location ID. So that's why these are bridge tables. If you want to join this one and this one, you can join directly. This one and this one, you can join directly. If you want to join this one with this one, you cannot do it. You can either go this route and then this route, or you can go this route and then this route. For example, if you want to join this table with somewhere over here, you will have to first join this one with this one, then this one with this one, then this one with this one, then you can return something from here. So you guys understand how the data flow, the data model looks like, right? For example, if you want to join this table, you cannot join directly. You will have to go through this one and then this one. This is like a view. This is like a bridge in between. These are called bridge tables. Okay. So they will extract the DDLs for each table and they'll send it to you. You will have to execute those. So tomorrow, if I have like 1,000 tables, I want to know how the one of these tables joins with this table, right? You cannot go through each table and see which column is common. Okay, let me join this one with this one. Now I can join it. No, you will be lost, right? When you're looking at like so many tables. So this data model will help you if you want to join this one with this one. You know, first you'll have to join this one with this one, then 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 this one, this one, then this one with this one, and in the select statement you will have columns from here and columns from here. Is that clear how Irwin data model looks like and how it is useful?
Yes.
Yes.
So you have a data modeling tool here also. Okay, you have a data modeling tool here also. I've never used it. Okay, Oracle provides you a data modeling tool. So, I mean, if you want, you can try it. Okay. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get started. Okay, so previously, let's get started. I want to extract data from a table and load it to a flat file. I want to extract data from an Oracle table and load it to an XML. So let me create a table, create table, and then I will call this as. I'll go over this quickly because I already did this and I gave assignment, the recorded sessions. Okay, so let me go over this quickly. So HR, so I will call this as emp_8_1. I'm going to keep this simple. I will have emp ID number, emp name varchar 215, and then depth ID number. This is my table. Insert into table. Values, I will say 1, 2 comma 10. So 2 comma 7 comma 20, then 3 comma 7 comma 30. Okay, so I will do select star on this table. Okay, I have this data. I want to load this into an XML. I want to convert this into an XML. Okay, so how would I do that? Let me go here and let me import the structure of the source. This is the structure of my source. And I'm going to load this to an XML. So you have to create a flat file here and call this as something like that. Create, done, and double click on this and sorry, cancel, and just give temp under, give it any name. Make sure that this is high 99999. Okay, let me create a mapping. Create m underscore aura underscore ff underscore. No, not aura underscore ff. It's aura underscore 7 underscore temp underscore 8 underscore 1. Okay, drag and drop my source. My source is a Oracle table. This is my source. Okay, my target is this flat file. For now, it's going to be flat. See, XML and flat file, no difference. One has comma as delimiter. One has data loaded in it. I mean, it has data in between tags. Flat file has pipe or comma as separator. Over there, you have tags. Data is enclosed between tags. Okay, so I have my source as a table, target as a flat file. So I want to convert this into an XML. So first thing you need to create, let me create all of my XSDs here. So let me create an XSD. So how do you create an XSD? So first thing, so I have 3 columns, right? So I have 3 columns in my source table. I want 3 tags for each row. I want 3 tags in my target XML. So I will start off my XML by creating an XSD like this. And then you can say temp ID. And then you can say numbers in between. It doesn't mean it will load 111. We are just creating a syntax for an XML. Okay. It should always be closed by backslash like this. Temp ID and then temp name. Okay. And then depth ID. Depth name should be alphabets, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, something like that. Over here, I'll put numbers again. Okay, now I'm going to save this as an XSD. Where will I save this? I will save this CSRC files, XSD. Where is XSD? Okay, over here I will say this amp underscore 8 underscore 1 and second, select the second last option. And over here I will say dot, okay, and save it here. Okay, it should, when you use Notepad++, it should turn blue like this and it should convert into an XML. Okay. Now let me go here and check. Okay, my My XSD is present here. So now I will use XML generator. So it will ask you, where is your XSD present? Okay, so go to search files, and do you see XSD? Double click on that, show all files, select this, say open. You'll get this option. Just say no. I will tell you when to use yes here. Okay, say you don't want to set anything, just say no. Okay, say next, and then say finish. Okay, XML generator, this will generate an XML. So you'll take all of this and map it here, and you'll take the data output and map it here, and then you'll have to use a sequence generator and map it here. Okay, that's it. See, now my XML is not giving a error because I like reinstalled on top of my client. I reinstalled the client, so that's the reason it's not giving me. So generate a workflow, next, say next, finish. So once again, all you're doing is taking data. So what does an Informatica developer do? Take data in one format and load it in another format. That's all we have been doing for the past 2 months. Take data in one format, transform it, and load it somewhere else. Extract from Oracle table, transform it in between. And actually, there is no transformation here. This is just extract and load. Okay. If you are filtering or routing, then you would do that. Means so we are extracting data from a table and loading it to a flat file, right? So that's all we are doing here. So let's go back here. Let me disconnect. Let me connect back. Okay, let me make sure that everything is it's insert, and if you scroll down, stop on error should always be 1. I'm reading data from an Oracle table, so connection is given here. I'm loading data to a flat file. So make sure that you say .xml here. I'm loading data to target file dir. Okay, say apply, or just to make it better, you can just go here, Infoshed, go to TGT files and create another folder here called XML. So all your XMLs, you can store it here. Okay. Say okay, Control S, run your workflow. Okay, so let's go to the target files dir, double click on XML. So you will see that data got loaded in an XML. Is that clear to everyone? How to generate, how to extract data from a table and load it to an XML? This is how you do it. Okay. Now let me show you the opposite. Okay, let me show you the opposite. I have an XML and I want to load it to a table. So let's create an XML. Okay, let's create an XML from scratch. Okay, let me create an let me use Notepad++. Okay, let's create an XML. Let's create a simple XML. So first thing we need is tags. Yeah, first we need is open and close the tag. And then we need tags like this. Okay, you don't have to create XMLs like this. You will be provided XML. Okay, I just want to show how XMLs look like. Okay, and in this one you will have emp ID, 1. Okay, and this will be closed. Then you will have name up to name, and then set ID 10. Okay, so this is your XML. So I'm going to add some more data in it. File, save as, go to your src files and say emp_8_1. Save this in XML. The second, select the second last value and give it the extension.xml. Let's see. Okay, so you will have one main. This is your main tag, the header tag, and inside the header tag you will have this. So if you want to enter more data, you will take this and enter it like this. 2 20. Then you will take this one and enter one more here. 3 and 30. Control S. So if you close your there is something wrong.
One extra input.
One extra right here. Always just validate your XML like that. Okay, so when I close this, the entire thing, because this is the parent. Okay, and these are child tags, 3 child tags. This is a parent tag. These are 3 children in it. Okay, when you open each one, it will have this one. When you open this one will have this one. Is this clear to everyone? How to create XMLs? This is your parent, and this is Empl is child of parent. Okay, and these are the attributes. So parent, smaller parent, and then you have like this is like grandfather, father, and this is like kids. These are called siblings. Okay, this is a sibling. This is called parent. This is child, but then this is again parent for this one. Okay, is this clear? So let's load this data into. Let's load this data into. Let's just call this as XML. Okay, I don't want to use a scene. Okay, so let's go here. Let me import this. So there are 2 ways of doing that. When you're loading data from table to XML, I showed you that's one way. When you're loading data from XML to table, there are 2 ways of doing it. I'll show you one way. The first way is go to sources, import XML definition. You can directly import the XML definition. So XSD.
So were we supposed to create the table?
Yeah,
Structure
I created the
for it?
table, right?
No, you have select statement there.
Oh, sorry. I didn't even check that. Okay. So I'm going to import the structure of the XML. Say no, I don't need to set anything. Okay, next, and say finish. Okay, I imported the structure of the XML. Okay, Control S. Let me import the structure of the target. So Ramil, you didn't do it this way. Okay, so you did it a different way, which is also good, but I want to show you a different way here. And then I'll do the way you did. Okay, now sure. I will create a mapping. M_XML_. Aura underscore emp underscore 8 underscore 1. Extracting data from an XML, loading to an Oracle table for this data. Okay. So you will see a new folder will be created here called XML. So I will drag and drop this. And this is my target. I don't need an XSV. Probably the simplest mapping you'll ever do. Is that clear? So I'll tell you when to use this and when to use the other one in a minute. So I'm going to just extract data from XML and load it.
Abdul, in this case, the sequences will be same in the as it was in the XML, correct? Like
It should be, yeah.
Should be.
Yeah.
Let's say if they make a mistake, second row, they mistakenly put the first place. So is there any way that we
You have to make sure that your XML is proper. If your XML syntax is not proper, while importing, it will give you an error saying that XML syntax at line 2 is bad, line 3 is bad.
No, let's say that that structure, everything is good, but let's say that first Abdul is on the second place, right? So they mistakenly put the 2 Ramil 20, 1 Abdul 10, and 3 Tonya 30. So when you upload to the table, it's gonna go same as it's in the XML, or we can change it and make it on the sequence, like a 1, 2, 3.
No, you have to use a sorter. If you want to do it, you have to use a sorter outside. The way data is read, that's how it will be loaded.
Okay.
Okay, stop on error as 1. Same thing with flat file also. You have first record in your flat file, the first record will be inserted. Okay, so you'll have to come back here and change it. By default, it will always say data.xml. Okay, ignore that. So we first have to say XML here. Okay, and then your, what is the name of your XML? The name of your XML is this one. Okay, target table, always truncate it. Okay, 3 read and 3 loaded. So if you do select star from this, so data got loaded. Clear? So I showed you how to load data from table to XML. Then I showed you how to do XML from table part 1. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now I will show you how to load data from XML to table a different way. This is the actual preferred way. This is the actual preferred way of doing it. There is another way of doing it. Okay. There is another way of doing it. So I will say mapping copy. Oh, map. Okay, let me just mapping copy as, say, I will say part 2. Okay. So my target remains the same. Okay, my target remains the same, but my source will be a different. Okay. Let me go back to my sources. I will not import XML as a. I will not import XML as XML. I will import XML as a flat file. Never select this. Okay. So I will drag and drop my flat file. Oh, is this the one? Is this the one I just? Oh no! Why did I drag target here? I don't need this. My source. My source is a flat file now. That's all. Okay. Now I'm reading data as a flat file. Okay. In the middle of the pipeline, I want to convert it to an XML. Then I will use XML generator transformation. We already use XML parsers. Now I'm going to use XML generator. Okay. For that, we will have to create an XSD. So how will I create? So I will take the copy of my XML. I'll go to the XSD folder, paste it here. Oh, that's part 2, right? So okay, let me get rid of this. Okay, so I have this one. So what I will do is I will get rid of all of this. I will just keep one. Okay, and it doesn't have to be 1 up to 10. I can say 9 here. Over here I can say something like this. Over here I can say 9. This is what Ramil did. Okay, save, close. Okay, I will use this XML generator because
I use parser here.
no, oh sorry, yeah, you're right. You have to use parser because my source is an XML. You're right. So first I will have to select the XSD. Go to source files, go to XSD, say all files and say open, say no. Okay, say next, say finish. You will have an input here and you will have output here. Okay, same thing. Now let me generate workflow. So my source,
we cannot create the sequence generator here, right?
no, you don't need to. So right now my source is this one. My source is this. I want to load it to the target using XML parser. I loaded data from XML to table with another way. This is part 2. So I did it this way also. By importing the XML as a source itself, I did it, but I'm doing it another way. Okay. So yeah, that's it. So let's go back here and disconnect, connect back. Make sure that this box is selected. Okay, make sure config object stop on error is 1. Make sure you're reading data from the right XML. Folder is missing. Okay, target is database. Try to edit, Control S, but workflow. So I'm loading data from XML to table in the second way. Why did it fail? There was a problem with my.
Abdul, maybe you deleted the you remember file, so it cannot read source.
What was that?
You remember you delete one source and then paste the XSD file over there. Maybe he's not able to read the source file because you deleted and I think you pasted inside of that.
No, this is my XSD, right? This is the XSD.
No, check the source file.
Source
Location.
file, source file. I think he's not able to read the source.
Yeah, this is my source.
Hmm.
And this is my
What's the
XSD.
XML 81.
Check the workflow level, see the name is right.
Two of them is the same name, right?
Yeah, one is, they're in different folders. They're in different folders. So it's reading, oh, at the, okay. I know what the problem is. So there's a problem with our XSD, okay? You don't need this tag. You don't need that tag. So our XML was good, our XSD was bad. So let me delete this and recreate.
Parser.
Oh, what did I use? Oh, I used, okay, sorry. No, error at file empty line 1. The input ended before all the. So I did the same thing yesterday night. I have the opening tag as breakfast menu, closing tag as breakfast menu. Then I had these tags. I had these tags. One second. Why is it failing? So you did the same thing, right, Ramya?
I did the same thing, yeah. But I think maybe the source file I'm checking on mine.
Yeah, can you check?
Yeah, I checked because I used the same, whatever like it created on the target file. I used exactly the same one.
Yeah, and we're using the flat file here.
Yeah, I used exactly the same target file, which
Whatever was generated?
whatever was generated right away. I just put it over there. It has been.
Yeah, that's why I don't like to build XMLs. Whatever was generated. Okay, let me go back and.
I use the same XSD for both of them. Yeah, parser.
Yeah, usually that's how I show classes also. Like, I don't mess with I don't create an XML from scratch. I thought I could do that. Okay, so I will take the XML which was. Okay, let me take this.
Yes, exactly this one I took as a source and then put it to the table.
Replace. Okay. Control S. So I have 3 records here. I have the XSD, and then I'm loading it into the target.
Abdul,
Yeah, nothing is valid.
when you create this the source file, right? What about the codes? I think I put the no codes over there.
What?
Do you think it might be matter? You remember you created the source file, right? I put on mine, I think no codes over there.
No, that shouldn't.
It's not right. And I think I took the comma out. I didn't use the comma over there.
Yeah, no, all of those things you can just leave it default.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now it loaded data. So whatever I did, so even yesterday night I told Ramil, whatever when you extract data from table to flat to XML, use that XML as a source in your second mapping. Okay, so if you go and execute this, now you should see. Why is there so many issues here? Let me input the XSD again.
The proper way to import as an XML, that's the good way.
Why is it doing that? It's loading the employee IDs. It's loading the department IDs. It's messing up the employee name.
Check your XML, maybe there's some. Oh, here, maybe we can make it bigger.
No, it is 7 already. Not sure why it's doing that. Is there a problem with my XSD and XML? Emp ID, emp name, dept ID.
Is it matter the yes AAA? Maybe you can put all of them capital letter, or it doesn't matter.
No. This is 7 characters, right? This is only used to denote the length and the data type. It doesn't matter. See, when I put 9 here, it worked. When I put 99 here, it loaded the right. It's a problem here because maybe.
Abdul, what about the name over there?
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I
we
have
should put
I'm
the
using emp ID.
emp
So
name.
my XML and XSD should have the same tags.
Yeah, emp name it should be.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, no, it's gonna work, I think.
Now I think it should work.
Just make it bigger because Abdul is bigger than Sam. So
In the XSD?
yeah, It was a SEM, so 3 letters, right?
Yeah. Okay. So let me make this 99. Make this as or something like this. Let me make this as 77. Do I have to re-import, or I think I have to re-import again? So let me try to rerun and see. Okay, I think I'll have to re-import because it still has name here, whereas we have emp name in my XML. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Get me XML parser. Select the XST. Okay, see now I have emp ID, emp name, and dept ID. Okay. XSD, guys, XSD and XML should be the same syntax. Remember that. Okay. So when your source is an XML, there are two ways of doing it. One, you just import the XML directly as a source. The other one, you will use it in the middle of the pipeline to convert. When do we use this and when do we use this? So you will use this when your XML is a source. You will do that. But over here, when do you use this one? Suppose, give you an example here. Suppose you're extracting data from this link. Okay, the first thing you will have is flat file. Then you will have HTTP. I'll cover that. Okay, then you will have HTTP transformation. In that you will put that link and everything. So the output of this will be an XML. So you want to load it to the table. So you will, your data will go from here to here and from here to here and then here. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're extracting XML data, because I don't have the, in this case, XML is my source. So I can just do this. But if my XML is not a source, XML is coming from some other, and in the middle of it, you want to convert it to table. So you're extracting data from here. When you're extracting data from here, in the middle of the pipeline, so you use HTTP transformation. I'll cover this. We'll put a link here and all those things. The output of this will be this. Now, then I want to load it to a table. Then I will use XML parser in the middle. If your source is an XML, just do this one. No questions asked. If your XML is a source, just use this one. Your XML is not a source, but in the middle of it, it will become an XML after you extract data from somewhere. Then you use this. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do a slightly complicated one. Okay, a slightly complicated XML as a source. So the XMLs we looked at right now, the XMLs we are working with are simple XMLs, right? One employee ID, one name, one employee ID, one name, and one department ID, one employee ID, one. What if Abdul works in two different department IDs? What if Abdul works in two department IDs? Okay, so for example, over here, this book, let's look at this XML. Okay, let's look at this XML. This has parent-child relationship in them. So look at, I copied the XML from here. Please look at this one. Oh, somebody asked a question. Okay, look at this one. So in this one, this is library, category is dogs, language is English. So this one has one tag. This is simple. Now look at cats. Cats has two children tag in it, right? Right? Is that clear to everyone? See, cats has English and Zulu, and the author is someone else. False, true. So this tag has two children tag. This tag has only one tag. This XML tag has only one child tag here. This XML tag has two children tag. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes.
So how would your data get loaded? So this is what what's his name? Badri was working on last month. Okay. So this is how your data will be loaded. Okay. So first of all, you will have the columns you will have is category. And then you will have title, one column. Then you will have language as another column. And you will have author as one column. ISIN, days until return, then price. Okay. So the first record will be like this: dogs, English, language, no wait, category name is dogs.
The title is all about dogs.
The category is dogs, and then the title is all about dogs. Yeah, because this one comes first and then this one comes. This is all about dogs, and then the language is English. The author is someone. This is how your data will look like. ISIN is true. Days until return is 0. And the price is this one. Okay. Now the second one, the category is cats. Okay. Title is all about cats. Language is English. Author is someone. False. Days until return is this one. And the price is this one. And for the same cat, you have another set of data. This is 1 to 1, this is 1 to 2, right? So your language is going to be, sorry, let's start from scratch. So again, for the same category, you will have cats, okay? And now the title is this one. And this is the language. Okay. Author is else. 2, 0. Okay. This is how your output would be. Cats will have two rows. Okay. Dogs will have only one row. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So let's create a mapping. So m underscore XML underscore aura underscore books underscore 8 underscore 1. Okay. Now let's import my source is an XML. So let's import it as an XML. Source, import XML definition, and go to not in XSD. So you have to make a slight change here when you're importing. Everything else remains the same. Double click on XML, all files. Do you see this book? Click open. say yes, say okay, say next. Do you see this option hierarchy relationships? Please select that. If it's one-to-one, just keep it entity relationships. You can select hierarchy relationship. So it will do like one-to-many. And if it's one-to-one, it will do one-to-one. They finish.
Will it only read one record if we don't choose that?
If you don't know, it will error out.
Okay.
Okay, so Control S. So that target, I already have it. Okay, so I will drag and drop my source here. Source is an XML. And then, oh, sorry. Then my target, we'll take a break after this. Target is, what is my target? XML books. Okay. Now, okay. Now, I cannot, okay. I'm mapping name to name. Okay. Now I cannot map title to title. I cannot map language to language. I cannot see there are two categories here. I can only map this one to the, so previously we only had one box here. We were mapping everything from that one box, right? See, we had emp ID, name, dept ID in one box. We were mapping it directly. Unfortunately, over here, name is at the parent level and everything is children, right? So you cannot load it in one pipeline. Do you see this message? Concatenation disallowed. Look at the bottom of my screen, okay? Concatenation disallowed on transformation, all active transformations. So this is one category and this is another category. So you cannot load data like that, okay? So how do you do it? Because this is coming from another pipeline, this is coming from another pipeline. So you will have to, what will you do? So you will have to bring, you don't have to bring expression, but I'm going to bring an expression and split it here. I'll bring another expression and then take data from the bottom part. Okay, and I will use a joiner. I'll take both of this and dump it here. I'll take everything from here and dump it here.
Abdul, can we do right away to joiner?
Yeah, you can do joiner right away. You can do joiner right away. Why is it not letting me choose sorted input for joiner transformation to join data from this? I did not get that error message.
Maybe it is only the input, the second one.
See, I did this yesterday night.
You copy and paste the source code file, that's why.
Oh, sorry. Okay, this, yeah. Okay, so the first pipeline, okay guys, hold on one second. So you can map name to name, but the rest of the information you cannot map. It says it should come from another pipeline. Okay, so you'll do Control C, Control V.
It's kind of unconnected lookup. Only one title can go out at one.
Yeah. Over here, one group, one like block can go out. In that unconnected lookup, only one column can go out. Okay, so now you will take expression. You don't need to take expression, but I'm just to make it slightly easier. Then you will take another expression, take everything from the bottom. Okay, then how will you join two XMLs? Anything with anything. I'm sorry. You can join anything with anything using, where is my joiner? So I'll take this one. I don't know if Badri is there on the call. He had to work on this earlier last month. Now you can map name to name, title, language, author, title, language, author, title, language. Okay. Now we'll go here. You'll have to join on something, right? You will join on foreign key to the primary key. Okay. Don't ask me why. I haven't worked on this ever in my life. Badri had to work on this last month, and somebody else had to work on it like 3 months ago. So I had to work. I had to help people work on this 2 times this year already. I never worked on it in my life, but I'm still going to show it to you. Okay, so you will get this is the parent, right? This is the parent tag. So this one will have primary key, and this is the children. This will have foreign key. So parent should exist first before children can, right? So this is a primary key and this is a foreign key. So you will have to join on. You'll have to join on foreign key equals to primary key. That's it. So while importing the XML, you have to select the hierarchy part, and then you will have to have 3. You know, Badri, he had to have like 5 sources. This source 5 times, because they were like 5 different groups in there. 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 5 blocks. So he had to join this one and this one. Then he had the same thing again. The output of this one, he joined it with the third one into another joiner. Then he had a 4th one. The output of the 2 joiners was again joined into a joiner with the 4th one, and then 5th one. Then he had to load data into target. Is that clear to me?
It was just like, I think,
one of the examples we did.
If he used the one joiner, then what about, so it means that I mean the joiners conditions is going to be same on the one parent one.
So from this one, he again took out the primary key, and then the other one, the bottom one, again had a foreign key. So he again joined this primary key on the foreign key from the 3rd block. Then he took out primary key again from this one, and from the 4th time he had the foreign key. The 5th, so again he took out again this one, and then, so that's understood, right?
Abdul,
So,
can you go to the joiners, please?
Foreign key equals to XP key.
Okay, if we're gonna have the 5 the kids, you know, on the one parent, the rest of them are the childs, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna have the 5 different conditions here, or?
Okay, let me explain again.
I'm sorry, Abdul.
Source definition. Source qualifier. Okay, this one has parent key. Source definition. Source qualifier. This one has foreign key. You will join on parent key. This one has employee ID. Okay, this one, from this one you're returning emp name and debt ID, right? So you will join on this column and this column, and then return emp ID, emp name, debt ID. Is that clear? That's
Yes.
what we are doing right now, right?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
You will also return primary key again. Now you will have source. You will again have source definition, source qualifier. The second group. This was the first group. This was the second group. Now the third group. You will have zip code, right? The same source. It has multiple blocks. Zip code. Okay. So this one will again have a foreign key. Okay. So you will join on this primary key. So you will take out this one. And over here, you will again join the output of these two on this one and this one. And now you will have emp ID, name, depth ID, zip code. Okay, you will again return this one. Something else will be here at the bottom with a foreign key. You will take that out, join on for primary key and the foreign key, and you will have extra columns here. Here.
So as I understand, then he's gonna have the 4 or 5 different joiners.
Yes, he will have 4 or 5 different joiners.
So, but this workflow is gonna be very slow, even
That's
though
okay.
was one
There
of
is
the.
no other way to do it. It's okay.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. At your work, your Informatica server will have like 128 GB RAM or 256 GB RAM, and the processor will be like 32 core processor or 16 core processor, right? It's going to be much faster than your laptop, what you have on your laptop. Okay. So you'll join on XPK and the foreign key, and then you will return all the columns. Okay. Now let's create a workflow. So 2 things. While importing, you have to select hierarchy. That's all you need to select, and then you will have to load data through different pipes. Here, I never worked on this, but I'm still going to show you because people had to work on this. 2 people had asked me questions, so of course I'm going to show. Also, this one also I never showed for any of the previous batches. Okay, so what is my XML Aura Books 8.1? XML Aura Books 8.1. Okay, first thing, always make sure this box is selected. We'll take a break after this. We'll make sure that this is 1, and we will make sure that for some reason it always makes it as data.xml. I don't know why. So my XML is called. You should be able to, okay, look at tutorials and try to build an XML. Try to build your own XML with parent-child relationship. Okay, try to do that. This one you can simple ones you can. Actually, I was trying to build yesterday night. I was trying to build employee ID has working in 2 different departments, but the data is getting loaded, but I'm loading null here. Something got messed up. Okay, I was trying, so I built something on my own. So employee ID 1 has 2 children tag, and employee ID has 2 has only 1 tag. Okay, there is some small mistake, I don't know, somewhere, but
Abdul, one more question. Do you remember we were talking about the foreign key and parent? I mean the parent and child tables. So we have to choose on the config object at the first option, constraint database.
No, you have to select this one.
We have to do it.
Config object, that first option over here, constraint based load ordering.
We have to do that, right, or not?
Can you tell me what is constraint based load ordering?
Yes, like upload first the parent
At
one.
target, you have 2 target tables, right? What is constraint based load ordering?
I'm telling you, upload the data first to the parent, later then to the child.
So you have 2 target tables, right?
Okay.
You have 2 target tables. Over here, I have 1 target table. So here on this, XML Aura Books 8.1. XML Aura. XML Aura. Where is it? XML Aura Books 8.1. What is my target table? XML underscore books. Okay, so if you look at the XML, actual XML we had, let me pull this up. Okay, so the name dogs is there one, title is all about dogs, language is English, okay, author is someone, ISIN is true, days until return is 0, and then price is 15. Then cats, because this name has two children, so the name is cats, and then the title is English. So, oh sorry, the title is English and Zulu. Okay. Oh no, sorry. Title is all about cats, and then the language is English. So title is between these tags. So title. So just assume that this is not here for now. Okay. If this was not there, you would have something like this, right? Title all about cats. So that will come first, and then the language will come here. Author is someone. Author is someone. False. Days until return is 3, and the price is 12. Now it will, for the same employee, sorry, not employee, for the same name. So again, name is cats, and then the title is this thing. Title is this thing, and then the language is this. Language is this. Else true 0 25.99. Else true 0 25.99. Okay. This can be more complicated. I don't want to cover that. You can have like up to 5. I have seen what Badri did. So he was having 5. So try to load this data. Try to load. Yeah, try to load this data into a target table. Okay. I was trying to build employee parent child relationship. So I was trying to build something on my own. For some reason, it did not work. I don't know why. It was giving me some error messages. So I was expecting 1 Abdul 10, 1 Abdul 20, 2 and 30. So maybe the XML I built wasn't correct. When I loaded data into that, it loaded data, but it loaded null here. So it did everything, but for some reason. So try to play around with that. Okay, at work, you will not be asked to build an XML from scratch, but I want you to build XML from scratch so you know how the tags work and how everything works.
Where did you get that book, XML?
The link I pasted in the group chat, right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's here. You can just Google for any, but you can use this one here. Okay, then you have this breakfast one. This is a simple one. This is not like you're not doing one-to-many relationship. This is one-to-one. See, food. You have like 5. Okay, this one is very simple. This one is very simple. I actually loaded that, but that's straightforward. Okay.
Is it normal, Abdul, to you see it change the place of the tables, the data?
The records, yeah, I saw.
Yes.
That. So
It's okay.
yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
So this one should have been in the second position, right?
Yes, because after that, if they're gonna ask us like take this table and then again upload to the XML, then this one is gonna be opposite.
See, they don't close the title. The first title, they don't close. They don't put the tag. They don't
No, they're
close it.
closing here. They open the, so within
Yeah,
the
they
tag
open
block,
it. hmm
so
And they
they
close it
open the,
after the language.
yeah, so this language is built inside.
No, it shows
Nothing.
that like a lang goes inside the all about the cuts.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why I
so
yeah.
you can have this as separate, or you can have it within here. You can have something else here also. You don't have to open and close it. Is that clear? You could have had language, English, and then language closed, or you can just put within another XML. I think that's where I messed up. I think that's where
Yeah,
I was
that's
supposed
what
to
I'm
close
thinking.
this department. No, but I close this. No, but they are closing it right away here only. They're not closing it at the end. Something. Let's play around with this. So I think you're supposed to close it right away here. That's what they did. See, title they opened, they closed it here, and they had book and book here. I have department. No, I have department. I should have immediately closed here. Then I should have had something else outside. Okay, I don't know. Well, I'll look into that. But yeah, for now, try to load the ready-made XMLs, and then after that, just play around with it. So today I showed you 4 mappings. How to load data from table to an XML, which was a simple mapping. For that table to XML, you have to use XML parser, right? You have to. This is Oracle table. Sorry, table to XML. You have to use XML generator. Then XML to table, I showed you 2 different ways. One, you import XML directly as a source, and the other one you pass it in the middle of the pipe. Then I showed you the 4th mapping where XML has a hierarchy in it. For that, you have to select you don't go with the default settings. You have to select hierarchy setting, and then you will have to build multiple pipelines. How many other children tags you have? It had 2 levels there. So you have to have source definition, source qualifier 2 times. Okay.
Abdul, which information was null on your table? Name?
The emp ID.
Can you go back to your syntax, please? I think I know where is the problem. I will try my best. No, this is not yours.
Yeah, this is the one I created.
No, yours
This is the one I copied.
Okay, so can you please go back the other one, yours, the Abdul one?
Yeah, this is mine.
Okay, so can you please put the ample ID to the double quote over there after department?
This one?
Check the other one, you're gonna see they put a double quote. No, after ample ID. Maybe
Yeah,
I have a
after
mistake.
ample ID, right? This one?
I mean, on the cat and dogs, I see that.
Yeah,
like,
I saw that too. You're saying put this in double quotes?
either this one, yes.
So I am still loading data for the other one, right?
They used only one double quote over there on the cats and dogs. I think only one double quote. Can you go over there? You see, okay, so yes, English, yes, you're right. It's after the equal one, it's double quote. So
And
now
also for mine, right? This one is getting loaded. One Abdul 10 is getting loaded, but for Abdul 20, this one is null, and then 2 and 30 is getting loaded. So I don't think that is. I could try it, but I'm not sure if that's the issue here. Okay, for now, just simply load the ready-made XML. At work, you'll be given a ready-made XML with hierarchy information in it. Then after that, try to play around with it and try to build your own XML. Okay.
Okay.
Let's take a break. Let's take a 15 minutes break, and then right now it's 11:43. We'll be back by 12. Okay. After we come back, I'll do. So XMLs are done. I'll do this normalizer transformation. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's take a 15-minute break. Okay, is everyone back?
Yep.
You guys can see my screen, right? So let's start working with normalizer transformation. So what is normalizer transformation? Okay, so it, like the name, it normalizes data. It normalizes denormalized data. So what is denormalized data? So let's take a look at an example for a denormalized data. You have fact file or a table, anything. You have emp ID, name, peptide. So emp ID, name. This person works for 2 departments. Okay, this person works for 2 departments. So you'll have data like this. This is called as denormalized data because you have repeating columns here. Is that clear to everyone? So this is denormalized data, which is not a good sign in data warehousing. So you want to convert this data into this format. You want to convert data into okay. You want to convert repeating columns into rows. We have to use normalizer transformation. Is that clear? How do you
Yes.
convert rows to column? We did this already. How do you convert rows to column? Using aggregator. Okay. How do you do this? How do you convert this? How do you convert this to this using aggregator? You will have employee name, min department ID, max department ID, right? You guys look confused. Normalizer and aggregator are opposite. They're opposite of each other, okay? If you have data like this, if you want data like this, you use normalizer. If you have data like this, and if you want data like this, you use, remember the assignment I had, student ID, name, subject, marks, 1, Abdul, math, 99. Remember this? 1, English, 100. So how, if I wanted, so I loaded data, I wanted to load the highest, lowest, and the average marks, right?
Yes, group by MPID or the other
And
ones.
then you will create 2 new columns, 2 output ports. Where is my aggregator? I mean, you could have highest marks, lowest marks, and all of those things, right? So these are opposite of each other. Right now, I have data like this. I want to load it in this format. You will use normalizer transformation. In interview, they'll ask you, how do you load? What is normalizer transformation? You will have to say, if my source has repeating columns, then I will load data into. And if I want to normalize the data, if I want to normalize, denormalize source, then I will use normalizer transformation. They'll ask you, and then, or in interview, they can ask you, how do you convert rows? How do you convert columns to rows? You have to say normalizer. They'll ask you, how do you convert rows to column? You have to say aggregator. Here.
Yes.
I'm going to create, I will say d emp underscore d norm. Okay, I will have data like this: emp id name, get id1, id2, and comma Abdul comma 10 comma 20, 2 comma Kamran comma 3 comma 50. Okay, let me create the structure of my target. Create table emp underscore normalized, emp id number, emp name varchar 215, id number. Did everyone not come back? Why is there so less people?
We only had 10 people for the whole class.
People start missing classes and then they'll come back and say, why am I not getting job? Why is it taking so long?
You said that maximum 10 people in the class, right?
That's good. It's good for you.
Google has a crash on that.
So src files, normalizer. Oh no, why am I selecting this? All files. Okay, let me select this. Oops. 1 second. Okay, I mean, you can do this, but I want to show you something else. The second question in normalizer. Okay, you don't have to do this while loading data. They'll ask you what is the difference between GCID and GKID. Okay, so let me import the structure of the source. Wait, why is my source structure weird? It doesn't make a difference, but let's keep it. Let me import the second source, import from flat file. Replace. Okay, this is my source. My target is going to be normalized employee. So let me create a mapping, simple mapping. M underscore ff underscore aura underscore emp underscore normalize. I'm going to normalize the data. Source is flat file. This is my source. My target is this one. I have two columns, department ID in one and department ID 2. In my target, I want only one department ID, right? And then I want data to be loaded like this. I want this to be loaded in this format. Okay, so you have to use normalize the transformation. Now the problem with normalize the transformation is you cannot drag and drop columns from here to here. Okay, it won't let you drag and drop columns. Okay, so unfortunately you will have to type in columns here. So double click on normalizer and go to normalizer tab, create 1 2 3. Okay, and then emp id name, depth ID. Okay, this is important now. Employee ID is occurring one time. Name is occurring one time. So the number of occurs, don't touch that. So department ID is occurring 2 times, right? And let's make this as number. This is, let's work here, make it as 50. This is important. Department ID is occurring 2 times. So you will say 2. Now you will take all these 4 columns and map it here. And then you will take this column and map it here. Okay, let's not worry about GCID and JKID right now. Is that clear to everyone? The only thing we did was
Yes.
double clicked on this and went to normalizer. We created these columns, make sure the right data types are right. This is important right now. Department ID is occurring, repeating, the column is repeating 2 times in the source, right? So
Yes,
automatically,
so we just leave the 0. So it
yeah, the other
automatically
ones
will
you'll
be
just leave
1
it as
time.
0. You won't change it to 1. Okay.
Okay.
So the moment you make this as 2 times, you will have 2 ports here. So you will map employee to employee name to see underscore IN automatically got created. So you'll map all of these here, and these ones you will map it to the target. That's it. Simple. This is the mapping. From here, the rest of the smaller transformations we have, it's going to be like source definition, source qualifier, target, and that transformation in between. Okay. Generate workflow. Next, 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 and finish. Okay. Let me log out and log in. FF Aura EMP norm, FF Aura EMP norm. Same thing. Make sure that this box is selected. It's insert and make stop on error as 1. Make sure you're reading data from the right source. Actually, I'm not reading data from the right source. So I can either copy this entire thing and paste it here, or I can just add normalizer at the end. Okay. I'll go to target and select this, say apply, say okay, control S. And start my workflow. See, I read 2 records and I loaded 4. I have 2 records, I loaded 4. So normalizer is the only transformation which can take in X rows and return X plus rows. Filter will take in X rows and return X minus rows. Router will take in X rows and return X minus rows. Right? This is the one of the, actually router can return more rows as well. In the first group you say true, and the second group you say true, third group you say true, and then the same target you have 3 times. It will insert it 3 times. Okay. So anyways, normalizer is an active transformation. So let's look at the data here. Is that clear? How we loaded repeating department ID columns to multiple rows? Is that clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Now, next interview question. What is GCID and JK? What is GKID and what is GCID? These are columns which are generated by normalizer. These are default columns generated by normalizer. So what does this do? So first of all, let's look at their data types. They are integers. Okay, you will load numbers here. Okay, so you say what is, they'll ask you what is the difference between GKID and GCID. I'll say these are ports, default ports generated by normalizer. The data types are integer and big int. GK is big int and GC is integer. I mean, both are numbers. Okay. So what does it do? Anybody knows? Turab, do you know?
No, I don't know.
PCID and JKID. What does it do? Okay. So GCID. So does it make sense? So this is like a sequence 1, 2, 3, 4. Anytime this not primary, anytime this key column changes, you will have this one will reset and will start with a new value. Clear? Clear or no?
Yes.
Okay. So anytime this value changes, this counter gets reset. This one will keep loading. So how is this useful? So my requirement is I want to load records which are occurring in the second position. In each employee ID, I want to load records which are occurring in the second position. How would I do it? So in this case, I want to load this one and this one. How would I do it?
We can use the expression, I mean the mod, even and odd.
Why mod?
Git.
Why mod? Just use a filter and say GCID equals to 2.
Yeah, filter. We can say.
No need to use mod and everything. Just use simple filter transformation. Make everything go through this. This one and this one, you don't need it in the target. I'll just load it as it. Over here, you'll just go and say okay.
You didn't map it right. So.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. I map. You have to be careful. So now I will only load 1 Abdul 20, 2 Kamran 30. Clear?
Yes.
So that's how it's useful.
Abdul, in the filter transformation, do you need to bring all the ports to filter one port, or you can just bring the one port?
Yeah, I don't need to bring the other one.
Okay.
I don't need to bring, but since I'm loading everything, I wanted to show what those columns are loading. So that's why I brought in everything. You don't have to bring it.
Okay.
Okay, I made it true. So I'm loading everything. So when you rerun the workflow, right, this one gets changed. This is like sequence generator. Remember I said it's like sequence generator 1, 2, 3, 4. Every time you run it, this will get, every time you run it, this one will get reset.
New number.
Okay.
Can we reset from the normalizer?
Back to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure. Properties.
Or
Yeah.
always it can reset.
Yeah, you can do it.
There is option, yes. Reset.
Yeah, let's say reset. I've never done this. Let me try this.
Yeah, every time it's gonna start from 1.
Yeah, we don't want to do that, right? Okay. So this is the use of normalizer. The interview questions they can ask you normalizer is, what is normalizer transformation? He'll say if a source has repeating columns, so that is denormalized data, and if I want to load it into my target table as normalized, then I'll use normalizer transformation. Give an example. If my source flat file has one Abdul, if my source flat file has employee ID name, dept ID 1, dept ID 2, and in my target I want to load employee ID name, dept ID in 2 separate rows, then I'm going to use normalizer transformation. Okay, then they'll or they can ask you, how do you convert rows to column? Sorry, how do you convert columns to rows? You have to say normalizer. Or the third interview question could be, what is the difference between GCID and JKID? Sorry, GCID and GKID. You have to say these are the default ports created by normalizer transformation. GKID is like a sequence. It starts from 1, and every time you run the workflow, it will keep increasing. You can reset that in the normalizer transformation. GCID is for every single row. For every single row in the source, it will have that many number of values. For the same MPID, the value will keep increasing unless it reaches a different MPID, and then the value gets reset. Okay, so let's try something here. So let me enter 3 comma Sam comma. Okay, Sam doesn't have a department ID 1. Okay, Sam doesn't have a department ID 1. And then I will say 4 comma Tamil comma and something like this. This person doesn't have department ID 1. This person doesn't have department ID 2. Okay. Oh, am I doing a filter? Let me get rid of the filter. Oh, I'm seeing true. Okay. Everything will pass through. Make sure that at the session level also it says true. Okay. So now what will happen? If a person doesn't have that department, you will still load 2 records. Why? Because over here I said the occurs is 2, right? So it will get split into 2 different rows. Column gets split into 2 different rows. So we will still load data like this. Now if the requirement is I don't want, so look at this, it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay, requirement is if a person doesn't have a department, don't load that. Okay, so you can simply say over here, you can simply say not is null I don't think they'll ask anything more than this. Okay, now you're loading only employees. You're loading only employees which have a department ID. Okay, but do you see this? This one will still continue to behave as if those records exist. Is that clear to everyone? Can I proceed?
Yes.
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 Okay. Where else? So I'll just wrap up normalizer. So this is one use of normalizer. Okay. What's the other use of normalizer? What's the other use of normalizer? Suppose you have a table. Suppose you have a flat file. You have emp ID, name, dept ID, name, salary. You'll have dept ID, dept name, and department budget. You have data like this. One up to this is again denormalized data, right? Because you have so denormalized data is if you have repeating columns, or denormalized data is when you have way too much data in one source. Like over here, I have data from two different subject areas, right? I have data like that. Sorry. Department budget is like then I also have zip code 11111. I also have city, and I have LA, and then city. I have state is CA. So over here I have data from three subject areas, right? So one is employee ID, name, salary, debt ID, and zip code. This is one. Then department ID, department name, and budget. This is another. Then this is one more. If you have, this is denormalized data. It should be broken down into smaller tables. Remember in the first class or second class for Oracle, I said denormalized is a bad design. I don't know if you guys remember. I said denormalized is a bad design. You shouldn't have like data from so many subject areas in. I think over here. I don't know. Anyways, okay. So if you have denormalized data like this or denormalized data like this, you can use normalizer transformation to split into different smaller subject areas. Okay, I won't be covering this. I'll give you the other one I completed. There is only 2 exercises on this.
Abdul, we're gonna use the normalizer and then use 3 targets and then use 3 normalizer.
When the second one, so this one. This one, I think he has credit card information and no, not this. This one I already showed. And this one. Oh. See, over here I have, because you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so over here I have customer information and credit card. So these are 2 subject areas. So it should be split into customer and credit card, and then you can join it on one of the key columns. This should be the columns which you can join on. Okay, you don't need to have customer information and credit card information in one file. And then transactions. No, then the transactions will be in another file. Okay, and then that will also have customer ID and then the transaction details, right? So customer ID is the key column for everybody, and then you will have to know how you can join these three tables. That's what the data modeling teams provide you, like how you can join each table. So this is actually a bad design. You shouldn't have denormalized data. It's very difficult to insert, update, delete records from here. Okay, it's very difficult to. So for example, you know why it's difficult? For example, this person. So I have. So this person changes his address. You will have to enter a new row here, and then you will have all of this information. If this credit card changes, then you will have to add a new row here, right? Just because something changes here. You don't have to do that. Customer information will stay here. If this credit card lost it, and then you can just enter a new row here. You don't have to, if this one changes, you're messing up with this, and this, all of that, right? Is that clear? So you can watch this one. I mean, even if you have time, watch it. Otherwise, if you don't watch it, it's okay. If it was that important, I would have showed in class, but I don't ask you that much. But it's good to have. If you have time, watch it.
So basically, we were doing the other way around while we were creating, putting everything together for report purposes, just to build a report.
Yeah, so reporting is easy from denormalized data. You're right. Reporting is easy from denormalized data, but it's difficult to maintain it, right? As a report developer, you don't even have to join dimensions and facts or anything, right? You'll just import simply one table and do it. So report developers love denormalized data, whereas database developers hate denormalized data. Good point. Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
Anybody has questions? So we covered XML source, XML parser, XML generator. This one. Stored procedure transformation, you guys can look into it. Okay, how do you guys update records without using update strategy? Does anybody know? They ask this in every interview. How do you update records without using update strategy? I've been telling for over 2 weeks now. You guys didn't watch it. Please watch it tonight. How do you update records without using update strategy? Okay. The other thing, I was asked this question on Friday. Let's see if you guys can answer this. What happens if I add debt ID? What happens if I add debt ID 3, 30, 30, 30, and 30? Or we can leave this blank. I don't care. what happens? So when I imported the structure of the source, I had 4 columns. Now I added a 5th column, and suddenly the source team decides to add one more column and send it to us. Can someone tell me what will happen? You guys hear me? So what will happen if the source team decides to add a new column?
Source structure will change then.
So what will happen if I run the workflow as is? If tomorrow source team just adds a new column at the end without letting you know?
I think it's gonna fail.
No, it will not fail.
You will need to change the value from 2 to 3 repeated columns of that. I forgot the exact value. I mean,
I'm not even going there.
okay.
I'm still going to keep it like this only. Emp ID name, dept ID 1, dept ID 2. I'm not even going to. So what will happen right now? My question is simple. Will the workflow fail or pass?
Probably it will not read the new column.
It will not read the new column. It will still succeed. Okay.
Because it calls the 3 emp ID name dept ID still, but the 4th one, let's say, or 5th one is gonna be empty. So
No,
nothing,
it's not empty, right? It has
nothing.
data in it. It has data in it.
No, I know, but in the source qualifier, we didn't call the
Yeah.
same.
So this thing is locked right now. You can add anything at the start. You can do whatever you want, but if you add new columns, it will not affect this. Okay. See, I added a new column to my source. It will not affect it. It will still run.
So do we have to change the structure first, and then
Yes.
it
So
will?
yeah. So if they add a new column to your source file, your workflow will still run. It will not fail. But if they remove the columns, then it will fail. For example, let me remove something like this. They only sent you. Okay, they only sent you this. Now see what will happen. Oh, it succeeded.
Probably it will say null instead of that.
It did not load anything because we are doing. Okay, let me take another example. Sorry, guys. Let me take a simple example. Okay. When you add extra columns, see, I was actually testing this out. So in my source definition, I have emp ID name dept ID. I added salary and zip code. Okay. So if I run this, nothing will happen. It will still run. Okay, it will still run. It will load 2 records. Okay. Now, if I get rid of all of this, just keep emp ID here. If they remove columns, then let's see what happens. Okay. I did not know about this. So even if you remove columns, it will work. Okay, it will load nulls. So even if you remove columns or add columns, if you add columns, no data will be added. If you remove columns, that column will be loaded as null. Is that clear?
Yes.
So, you know why we're asking this? So our source team usually tells us that we are going to add a new column to this table like 2 months before. So we would make database changes, and then we would make the source structure change, database change, drag and drop this column all the way till the target. They said going forward, we will not tell you. Okay, going forward, we will not tell you. We can add columns in the middle. We can add columns in the center. So they said we will never delete columns. They said we will add columns in the center, or we can add columns at the end, but we cannot tell you because it's too much work for us. They said it's up to you guys. If you want to load that column, load it. If you don't want to load it, but we will not tell you. So on Thursday they will send 3 files, 3 columns. On Friday they will send 4. Okay, they said they will never delete. On Friday they will send 4 columns. Okay, they can send columns in the middle also. Okay, that's a problem. If they send columns at the end, it's no problem. But if they send columns in the middle, for example, these are the right.
At that time, it may fail.
Yeah, at that time it may fail. Okay, so let me add. Actually, I have to test this. I was actually talking to my coworker. So like morning. So this is how currently it is. Okay. We already tested by adding columns at the end. It doesn't make any difference. Okay. So
We can create dummy columns in a target table, and then
no,
when
we
they
okay. Yeah, that was one of the. They were like, you can create a staging table. No, we don't want to do all that. Okay, so the requirement is they'll add columns at the middle, at the end. It's okay. We already tested out. We will not even load it. The problem comes when you add columns in the middle. For example, like we will add salary here. We'll add salary here. And then you will add 1,000. 3,000. Okay. So this is a number field. You don't need single quotes, double quotes for this. Okay. When you add data like this, now what will happen? See, like Ramil, you said it should fail.
I think so.
Okay. It will fail. Okay. Now they said we will not tell you if the columns will be added at the end or in the middle, but we can add columns wherever we want. We will not tell you. We cannot give you that 2 months time. So we had to come up with a design. Okay. So what we did was, actually all Friday I was working on this. You guys don't have to do this. Okay. You guys can see my screen, right? You guys don't have to know this. Okay. So we have this is our source. Okay. This is our source. This is exactly how our source looks like. Okay. And my target table is, my target table has only these columns: employee name, department ID. My target table has employee name, zip code, and salary, but in my on this. Okay, so my target table has only these columns, but in my source they can add columns in the middle. See, they added column in the middle, and then they added column at the end, right? We are testing for both scenarios, adding column at the middle and at the end. So they were saying we can add whatever we want, but we will not tell you. So we don't need this column and this column. We want to load the data the same way we were loading before. So I wrote a script. So when we get this file, so I created another file called as the metadata file, psjob metadata. This is the same columns in my target. Okay. So when I receive data like this, I'm going to extract this and I'm going to compare it with this, and whatever is not present here and present here, I'm going to delete that along with the columns. So employee is present here, employee is present here. I will load this. Name is there, name is there. This is good. Then depth ID is not present in my metadata file, right? So I'm going to delete this column and this data. Zip code is there, so I will load this. Salary is there, I will load this. Gender is not here, so there is a difference. So I should delete gender and this. So I wrote, not trying to scare you, it's just that I'm just trying to show you what are the different. So I wrote the script. First, import the structure of the target. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the target here. So I'm saying my target is going to be this file. My input is going to be PS job. Okay, my input file is going to be PS job, which is like this with extra columns. Okay, I'm going to so I said dollar output is equals to this. So anytime I want to use C user Abdul desktop, I will not use this. I will just use this. My input is C user Abdul desktop PS job. So anytime I want to use this PS job, I don't have to give the entire path. I will just use because I assigned it to this variable. Then I said okay. So let me show you this a little bit. I'm saying dollar output equals to C user Abdul desktop. Okay, then if I say echo, okay, that target file doesn't exist. So this is my source file. Dollar sample equals to import CSV path. So if I want to see what is my source file, I will just say echo. Okay, so this is my source file. Okay. Now what did I say? I said metadata line. From the metadata file, which holds only the columns which are there in the target, I'm capturing that. Okay, with the help of get content. All that I googled it. So I'm capturing the columns which are there in my target. Okay, then I'm saying these are the desired columns. Okay, so I'm saying whatever the columns I'm capturing here to do this. So echo. Okay, now then I executed this. I'm saying sample, which I already calculated before, right? This is my source file sample. Then I said select desired columns. So I said my desired columns are dollar desired columns is the metadata. Okay, this is the desired columns. So I'm saying this file and pipe means pass it here and then export and then this. So if I execute this, my modified will be generated, which will only have the columns which I want. Then I will load this from flat file to my target table as is. I will run this. I will put all of these into a batch script and run this as pre-session. I did not get time to do that. So I will run this as pre-session. Even if they send me a big file with like extra columns in the middle and at the end, this one is going to be fixed. This one is going to be fixed, right? So my modified file, this will become my source. Previously, this was my source, but I edited that and this. So tomorrow, if tomorrow I want to, so they are sending 6 columns, I'm loading 4 columns. So tomorrow, if I want to load gender, all I have to do is just go to my metadata file and say load gender also. Load gender also. So, okay. So I'm going to copy my scripts. This one took me time. It took me all 8 hours to do this. Okay. This took me a lot of research. One step at a time, I went. I'm going to run. So now my new file will be generated, which will have 5 columns now. Okay, let me refresh this. 1254. See, it has 5 columns now. And then at the database level, I'll add that extra column. At the mapping, so the day we decide we will load gender, I will add in the metadata file in the source structure. I will add gender here, gender, and load it. So tomorrow, if they send the same 6 columns, I will pick and choose only 5 columns. Is that clear? This is what I was working on Friday. This is an actual real-time issue. Usually, source team will say we'll give you 1.5 months or 1 month or 40 days to make this change. But they were saying we cannot tell you. We can, because we do not have a development environment. We have to make changes in production directly, which is very bad. You should never make changes in production. So they're saying we don't have a development instance. We are going to make changes in production. When we send you the file, it can have extra columns in the middle or at the end or wherever. And we said that will fail. So then I suggested this idea. So they were like people from 13, 15 universities. They said, okay, since you volunteered, please come up with a design and send it to us. So we are going to meet next week again. So I have to propose this one, that, okay, we have like a, we are going to introduce this concept of, right now we don't have this metadata file. Whatever we are getting, we are loading. If they are adding something in the column in the middle or at the end, they'll tell us 2 months before. We will also make appropriate changes at the database and ETL level. But I'm going to say let's introduce this concept of meta file, which will have all the columns present in my target, which we want to load. You guys can send us whatever you want in the middle or at the end. The script will decide. The script will pick up columns from here, compare it, and ignore all the columns which are present in the source and not present in the, it's doing like a left join. Present all columns present in my source, it's doing left join only on the columns, not data. Columns and data. So in other words, it's picking up everything from the meta file and matching records from the source file. So if there are columns which are not present here, they'll get ignored. So, and then previously this was our source. This will become our source now, and then we will load it. Clear? You don't have to know the logic, I mean the code and everything, but these are the kind of requirements you might get at work. This was what I was working all day on Friday. Just to write these 5 lines, it took me 8 hours. So you can in your interview, you can build up this thing, like what are the complicated things you worked on. And so let's look at this and then we can end the call. So practice whatever we did today. So tomorrow I will do transaction control, SQL transformation, and web services. I think that should be it from designer. Oh no, maplet input, maplet output. Yeah, 1, 2. So what do we have left? Maplet input, maplet output 1, 2. HTTPS 3. SQL 4. And transaction control 5. These 5 things. Then we'll not go to designer anymore.
Abdul, can we also talk about the workflow tasks, the sessions?
Yeah. I'm going to do that. Event wait, event trace. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you how to create a worklet. Over here, I'll show you how to create a maplet, when to use a maplet. Yeah, then I'm going to do session email command task. I already showed you. Email task I already showed you. I'll show you decision task. Assignment operator I'm going to show you tomorrow. Timer control, event wait I will show you. Worklet I'll show you. Okay, I'll show these probably on Tuesday. Tomorrow I want to finish this, and then Tuesday I'll finish up these, and then Thursday I will do. Thursday I'll do autosys. Thursday I will do autosys. That's a scheduling tool. Next Saturday, Sunday would be the final 2 classes. We will do Unix, and then I just want to show you a little bit of AWS and Informatica Cloud and MongoDB and Snowflake. Yeah, that's my plan. Okay, multiple flat files in one table. You guys should know, right? Capture flat file name and target table. What is the first character? Okay, we are going to cover this tomorrow. Difference between connected and unconnected lookup. Static, dynamic, and persistent. Index cache and data cache. Did you guys look at this? Index cache and data cache? Please look at that. Whenever you use a lookup, 2 files are generated. One is index cache and one is data cache. Okay, index cache will, okay, I'll tell you guys, I've been telling you. Index cache will have all the lookup on the columns on which you're doing lookup. That information will be there. Data cache will be all the columns, the data from the join on which you're the columns on which you're joining. This is the data and this is the columns on which you're joining. That information, and this is column information, this is data information. Column information on which you're joining. After you join the columns, what is the data? Performance tuning techniques. Google this. How do you remove duplicates from source? I covered all of this. Difference between joiner, lookup, source qualifier. When do we use? What is the difference between $$ and $? How do you load the first and last value from source? There is 2 ways. Use aggregator, and you can use first. In aggregator, you have first and last values. Okay, in aggregator, you have, like, you can do min, max. You can also do first and last also. Where is my aggregator? I think I opened it today. Yeah, whenever you use an aggregator, you can create, like how you create min, max, sum, average. You can create min, first and last also. So you can create, you can do first and last, or you just use rank transformation. Okay, you don't need to use sorter. Rank will always sort in descending order. So use rank transformation or use aggregator with. Okay, $, $, already did. Parameters and variables. What is stop and error? Bulk load, different types of tracing levels. This one you already know. Okay, this one you already know. SCD type 3, that is like a hybrid of 1 and 2. Some columns you will maintain latest data, some columns you will maintain history. Okay, how do you convert columns to rows? Repeating columns to rows, we just did it today. How do you get what is the difference between filter and order? What is SQL transformation? I'll cover tomorrow. Target load pan, constraint based load, different joins. This one, what is the most complex? That's new features. How do you load this one? MD5, how do you use it? Natural key and surrogate key, Snowflake and star schema done. Can you map C? Okay, who can answer this? In Oracle database, I have a target. I think Turab, you might know the answer. In Oracle database, I have a target table. Employee ID is primary key and its identity column. And in the mapping, in my source, I'm getting name and department ID. Okay, in my source flat file, I have name and department ID. In the target table, I have emp ID, name, department ID. So I mapped from the source, I mapped name to name, department ID to department ID in my target. Okay. So, and then I will use sequence generator to map to, let me open some sample. Okay. For example, in my source, I have emp ID and name. So I have name and department ID. And this one is created as an identity key in the target table. So I map this one from source. So assume this is my source. So I mapped name to name, department ID to department ID. This is a identity column, which at the database level, and then I am saying something like this. What will happen when you run the workflow? I covered this.
What do you mean what will happen? It's going to give the sequence number to MPID.
It will not, it will fail.
I mean, in this case or usually when you give the sequence
Listen
number?
to my question carefully. I created this table in my target table. This one I created as an identity column. Do you know what identity column means?
You have the sequence already in the database.
Already from the database level, yes. I covered this. Remember I told you in Oracle 11, you do not have sequence. You cannot create it here. So I logged into my Oracle Live.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so when you create a column as identity, you cannot insert values into it either by insert statement or with sequence generator. It will fail. It will say you cannot insert values here. Okay, so your mapping will be like source name and department ID. You will not have sequence generator here. Employee ID will be generated at the database level. Clear? The answer for this one is your workflow will fail if you're mapping to an identity column. Identity column should be left alone. Database will ensure that it will insert one for every row which comes in. It will insert 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you try to insert data into identity column either by an insert statement at the database level or by using a sequence generator, it will not allow it. It will not allow outsiders to insert data into it. It will say, I will only insert. It will say, your job is to insert data here and here. My job is to insert data here. You cannot insert it with insert or with a sequence generator. Okay, the answer is it will fail. So where is that? Okay, I already posted the answer. Data cache. What does data cache do? What does index cache do? Index cache will store the data for the columns used in the lookup condition. And then for the data cache, it will stores the data for the connected output ports. Okay. Okay, I will have to cover OPB tables. Cover OPB tables, deployment, Unix, and then autosys.
Abdul, are you using the Xena at work?
Yeah, I'm using Xena. You guys don't need to know like more than one operating scheduling tool. Autosys is more used than Xena. I never heard the word Xena till I joined here. Autosys is used by every single bank and insurance company by default. They will not even look at any other scheduling tool. Okay, then I need to show you those mapping transformations, designer transformations, workflow. I'll show you a little bit about repository manager. What else? Like, what is that L1, L2, L3? Also called as T1, T2, T3. Difference between developer and production support. I already covered this, but I will cover it again. What happens when job fails? How do you handle it? Like ticket, like in Remedy or ServiceNow. Thurab, what do you use at work? Do you use Remedy or ServiceNow? Probably ServiceNow.
Service, yes, service.
Yeah, ServiceNow it's like every company is previously every company used to use Remedy. Now every company is using ServiceNow. How to handle when a job fails? You have to answer like what are the steps? Like how do you do a conference call, source team,
Change management.
yeah, incident management, change management, problem management, knowledge articles, Just write it down. INC, CHG, EBI, KBA. Else. Deployments, OPB tables, Unix, autosave, repository. I think that should be it.
Abdul, yesterday I found code review automation in
Oh, you did?
Informatica. Yeah, I'm gonna
Actually,
download today. I'm gonna
yeah.
try.
Actually, yes, it reminded me. I follow a group called Informatica on on Facebook. It's very funny because you told me about this yesterday, and yesterday evening somebody posted automation tools for Informatica. I'm serious. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
I'll actually send you that link.
Yeah, that will be great. I just want to make sure it's the same
Yeah,
one.
yesterday night while I was checking, yeah, that was very weird. Let me check. I'll share it with you. I'll give you the name. You can Google it. 1 second. I hope it's not deleted. Anybody has any questions?
And after that, can we also talk about the slowly arriving dimensions? So let's say
Oh
if
yeah,
we have,
actually I wanted to do it today.
yeah, if we
Just
have,
got
let's say,
remembered.
the new dimension with the new department ID, and if we
Yeah.
don't have any fact table, then
Yeah. So
we
what?
have,
Okay.
Mhm.
So new automated testing. Okay. The tool is called Cross Vista. Let me just hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me. This was very weird because we talked about it, and then yesterday I saw this.
It's big data. They're listening.
I know. I know.
Maybe iOS devices.
Yeah, what are they going to do with? Yeah, it's a very good tool. Okay, so I posted in the group chat. Okay, so late
Thank you.
arriving. I mentioned. So I'll tell you what we do at our work. Okay, I'll just take 2 minutes. So let me go back to your dim and fact. Okay, so anytime you guys remember this, right? How my fact table will do a lookup on the dimension. How my fact table will do a lookup on the dimension and return the dim keys, right? Like how it will return the dim keys, right? Now, for some reason, I will have sales ID here. Okay, for example, I will have sales. So there is a third sale for $300. Quantity is 3. The person who made the sale is an intern. That person is an intern, and that person's this was made in store 1. That intern's information is not present here, right? So what will happen when the record gets inserted into into the fact table? You will have 4. Sales ID will be 3. Total sales will be 300. Quantity is 3. MD key will be null. MD key will be null. Store D key will be 1. Whatever the rest of the. Now, this is the exact problem you have at work, right? When you're doing a lookup and it's not finding a what happened? What? Oh. So the problem is when fact data is doing a lookup on the dimension and it doesn't. So intern doesn't have an entry here, right? So it will load a null here, right? In your fact table for a D key, usually it should not have nulls. If it has a null, that means this match is not there here. So this one went try to so one try to do a lookup on one tried to do a employee ID, tried to do a lookup on this, try to do a lookup on this one, it returned this one. true did a lookup on this one and return this one. But intern, there is no emp ID called intern. So you're not, it's returning a null. So you load null here, right? What we do is in our mappings, fact mappings, after we remember this, where is that? Let me go back here. So remember over here, it's intern will not find something here intern, so it will return a null. So we have another expression here. In that expression, we said anytime a dimension key, so we will say if is null md key, it then load -2. Otherwise, continue to load empty key. Okay, is that clear? So we say if we, so instead of null, we will load -2 here, because these are not null columns, md key, store id, and these are not null columns, so we cannot load null here. So we will convert nulls to -2. And remember, I said we wrote a stored procedure in which we will loop through all fact tables and look for -2. I don't know if you guys remember. I said we loop through all the tables and look for the value -2.
We are looking
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So this
Yeah,
is
let's
where
go.
we use that stored procedure. So that's the reason we did stored procedure. Remember, I said loop through employee table and find out the value 100 in employee ID, name, debt ID, salary, zip codes, department ID, manager ID. We loop through all the 37 fact tables through every single D key columns. So we will not loop through all the columns. We will load through only the columns ending with D key. All the fact tables means all the table. So all our facts are like this: job F, labor ledger F. So we will not say loop through all tables. We will say where table name like percentile underscore F and column name like percentile D key. So all the fact tables and all the dimension keys in the fact tables and look for -2. Execute immediate, select star from, we pass that, keep passing that as parameters. I mean, I don't want to get into too much depth there, but you guys remember. Okay, so yeah, so we loop through all of these, and then we will send an email once we find out. Why does it keep getting merged into one? Okay, then after we run that, we will load it into a table, and then from the table we generate a flat file. So at the end of the day, we will have file like this. We will have a file like this: emp d key and then -2. I will have table name, column name, value. I can have labor ledger F. I can have department D key and then -2. So we will send an email to the source team saying that why is this? I mean, this will not make any sense to them. Okay, we do not send this flat file to them. We analyze this flat file. So when we know that MD key is -2, then we can know that we will go to the employee table and check why this person doesn't exist. So we send an email. So for this department doesn't exist, we send them back an email saying that we cannot send this email. It won't make any sense to them. We'll tell them, can you please fix this, because today our report is not showing data for this person. When they run the report, you know what it will show? It will show sales ID 3, total sales 300, quantity is 3, employee name, employee ID, employee name, everything it will show as null. So the manager who is looking at the daily report, he'll say, who is this person who made, so at the end of the day or starting of the day, they want to look at how many sales every person made yesterday, right? So they'll say, why is this $300 made by a person which is called null, right? So if a record is present in the fact, and that record is not present in the dimension, right? For an ID is present in the employee ID is present in the fact which does not have a corresponding entry in the dimension. So we will have to go back and say, whoever is generating this file, we will say, please enter that. So they'll fix this 3 to Rob. So that person is no longer in intern. Okay. Or if they still want to keep this, keep it as intern. So they will say, anytime an intern makes a sale, okay, anytime an intern makes a sale, just use this. So what will happen? You will have something like this: MD key as 4, emp ID is 4, name will be intern. For any time a new intern joins the company, so department 20. So tomorrow, what will happen? When you rerun this, we are tracking changes on MD key, right? When we are loading data into fact. So this is how your fact will look tomorrow. This will get end dated, and the same record will be inserted. Instead of -2, you will load 4. So when they run the report, it will not show up as a null. It will show that it's an intern. Okay, this fact will be joined to this dimension on this, that the MDK and MDK, and it will return this. So when they run it, the report on day 2, it will show that intern. That is actually one of the issues which report users mention. So this is the concept of this is called late arriving dimension, because the dimension is arriving a day after somebody fixes it. Is that clear?
Yeah, basically
Yes.
next day we're gonna see the -2, right?
Yeah. So I'll quickly show you. So
And we need to put just the if is done, and then any value insert there, and then we can now like a dimension was not existing.
the row in the dimension was not the dimension was not existing.
Okay.
So I'll quickly show you and then I'll end this call. So every day we generate. So that's like a painful thing for me. Every day, that's my responsibility. So to check for -2 values.
Is this the standard that everybody put the -2?
Most companies do that -2. So see, Informatica prod, see CDM. See, this row had these many -2s. This one had these many -2s. All these fact. These had these many -2s. So then I talked to. We had a failure today. Okay. So we have this thing where I tell him that. So he said, okay, please report it to this person. This is our report developer. So I said, this one had these many -2s. So he said, I don't know why they errored out. So then we figured out something else. We figured out. So every day we keep checking those -2s. So yeah, so we had these 3 -2s. Okay, so those dimensions were not present. So I mean, that's why we have this. So every day I get this file. Every day I get this file, say CDM error count. So I have to check why these loaded -2s. So job fact error means we have a job for an employee, and that employee doesn't exist in employee table. That is very weird, right? First an employee should exist, and then a job should be assigned to that person. Anytime we see a record, so this one I remember. Anytime we see a value here, it means that we have data present in our job table, PS job, and not present in PS employees. So how can you have a job for an employee which doesn't exist? First, you need to create an employee profile and then assign a job to it. Sometimes the front end system, PeopleSoft, will let you create a job for an employee which doesn't exist. Clear? So we send this, we run a stored proc, 37 facts. We check for these are all our facts: absence result, F, benefit, FSA, budget, ledger, budget ledger, job F, paycheck F, pay earns, pay others, pay tax. So we send them an email saying that, yeah, we are assigned a job to an employee which doesn't even exist in employee table. So this is our job F, this is our job F, and this is our employee dimension. So we have somebody has to insert data into the flat file and send it to us tomorrow. And the next day, this gets loaded, and our job F will pick up the employee DT, and the next day it will be fixed. So if you see, I sent an email saying that yesterday on the saying that this person doesn't exist. We have an employee. So this person was mapped to university level. This is default. This is incorrect. If it's university, we don't even load it into our dim key. It cannot be university. So she replied back saying that, yeah, I fixed it. It is not. What is urgent? What is urgent? Okay. So she sent an email saying that, yeah, I fixed it. The employees has been now, it's ophthalmology department. So from the front end, they go and fix it. So today, if I run that, if I check that person, it won't have -2. It would have an actual value there. Clear? Anybody has any questions? Okay, so we'll meet tomorrow from 10 to 1. We'll wrap up designer tomorrow. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, please end the class, go through the XML thing which we did, normalizer thing we did, and we'll meet tomorrow.
Abdul, you shared this XML information here in the chat, or
which XML? The one with the tags?
Yeah, work on that department and childs, 2 childs.
Yeah, I shared it in the group, right?
Oh, it's the link, right? This one is the XML tutorial.
The XML tutorial. Yeah, if you click on that, you'll have the first one.
Yeah, this
the
one.
XML in the gray. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. You use that. Put that in an XML in your source directory, and then try to load it into a table. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.